Boker Tov, we continue with our 3-minute daily dose of Torah, looking at this, the event that takes place between Pinchas and Zimri and Cosbi. Zimri, the Shimonite, and Cosbi, who is the Moabite woman, who are cavorting in front of everyone, and Pinchas stops them, and by killing them, And the Torah then says that in that moment, Vateyatzar hamagefa me'al b'nei Yisrael, was that moment that the plague, because God was because people hadn't been punished by the leadership of Israel, God brought a plague to punish everyone for what was happening. And it's only because of Pinchas's action that things cease, this punishment ceases. I mentioned yesterday, this is one of the worst events, right? If you look, the Torah ends Parshat Balak by telling us, Vayihiyu hametim b'magefa. The number of people who died in the plague were Arba'a ve'esrim Aleph, 24,000 people. 24,000 people were punished. Were they all direct participants? Unclear. If it were the case, that's an enormous failure, and the event of Baal Peor is referred to with such with terrible reference points later on in history, looking back at this. Or they're the people that watched and didn't stop, and even leaders who didn't stop it either. Here the Torah continues with God saying the following. Well, pause here for a second and get the right reference. The verses, and we'll still say at the end of Balak for today, describes Vehema Bochim, and they were crying Petach Ol Moed, right? When Zimri and this other woman boldly come out and are cavorting as they are in front of everybody, in front of Moshe and everybody else, they were crying at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So how do you read they were crying? So one reading would be that they were having wild relations there in front of everybody. That's kind of like how out of control this is. But that's not how Chazal read this. Everyone was weeping about where things had gone. The people who care were crying, but they were crying and passive and paralyzed. And it was Pinchas who says, we got to do something here, right? We need to stop this. And that's when he comes forward and takes his drastic action, something which is going to be seen from two perspectives, either as heroic or as dangerous, or perhaps both, to be continued tomorrow.